Basically, our CEO, Stella Avramopoulos, and our chaplain, Bernadette Hurley, they were the first ones on the ground for Kildonan to respond to Black Saturday, and they attended the relief centre, the makeshift relief centre that was set up on Sunday after, and they went with whatever Kildonan could provide, which was in the form of food, vouchers, and any assistance with services. They put together a register, so anyone that had been fire affected could come in and register their names, and then basically Kildonan would provide any support that was possible to give at that time. Following that, shortly after, there was a case management service set up by Kildonan, and at any given time, at its largest, it was a team of about 25. That included one manager, 3 team leaders, and about 20 case managers. From there, they provided case management service to all that were affected in the northwest and Human region of Victoria. And also at a later stage, they were able to identify further needs of the bushfire affected communities, and that included grief and loss counselling, relationship counselling, financial counselling, youth services, and more recently a support worker that will continue to assist people with their recovery.
I guess it was keeping across the information and the events as they were unfolding, so I had a sense of the impact and where we might have to target services. Participating in what's called our National Crisis Command Centre meetings, which Centrelink pulls together across now the Human Services portfolio to plan our response, and social work is part of that. And as I indicated in an earlier answer, identifying the resources that we needed and actually mobilising them as quickly as possible. We had to do that within an extremely short time frame.
You mean apart from thinking, I don't know what I'm going to be doing? Well, the first thing I did obviously was meet with the team that was already in place, and there was already an incident controller in place on that team, and there were sector commanders set up all over Queensland, so there was a very good structure. But it became clear to me from the very first day that the role that it had been assumed I would undertake, which was of planning manager, in fact was not where I could be most use, and I actually took over the role of operations manager. And it was very, very clear that in terms of operations, what we needed to do was get people on the ground out in the affected areas as quickly as we could. So the first thing I had to do was try and identify those people, which is when I put out a call through my contacts in Queensland Health and also through the AASW. From that, we had a huge number of people eventually responding, but after having put the call out, then I had to try and collate the database, and as there was only me to do it, I can tell you that was a nightmare of a job. Very, very difficult, very, very long sort of process that actually continued until we were stood down once the immediate emergency was over. So that took a huge amount of effort and a lot of time. And I suppose the third thing that I had to do then was I actually then had to put in place things that would assist those deployees. So we had to look at updating people's disaster training, their psychological first aid training and so on. So they were the first few things that I did in those first few days.